Welcome back. I hope you've spent a little time thinking about your perceptions of Jesus, whether he's mostly the man of sorrows to you, or if you can also begin to see him through a different set of lenses as the man of joy. I know it can be kind of weird to think of him laughing and smiling and rolling around on the ground with kids, making jokes to his disciples, eating his favorite food, smelling bad after a long walk in the hot sun, getting indigestion. The way we usually see him illustrated has limited our view of him and minimized his humanity. I think there are at least 3 simple ways to see him as a man of joy by looking at his attitudes, his words, and his actions. Jesus was not necessarily a handsome man. In fact, the Bible says that there was nothing about him physically that drew people to him. He probably didn't have a handsome face or a gorgeous physique. It wasn't his physical presence that attracted crowds to him. It was more of his attitude and his demeanor. Little kids loved him, and they're usually a pretty good judge of who's cool to be with. My grandkids swarm all over Rick as their papa because he plays hard with them. He tickles them, he throws them up in the air, he makes silly jokes, and they love it. Well, Jesus consistently had children around him, and that says something about him. He was also invited to parties. Dull, boring people don't usually get invited to a lot of parties, but Jesus had a presence. He had an attractive personality, and people liked to have him around. And by the way, Jesus was funny, and I mean really funny. We just don't see the humor in his words because, first of all, we read the Bible like we're reading the phone book, boring, 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 or we miss the laugh lines. But another reason it's a little hard to see it sometimes is because Jesus spoke with ethnic, cultural humor. He was a Jewish man talking to mostly other Jews, and he used humor by exaggeration. So when he told his disciples to stop judging each other, and he said, "Take the log out of your own eye before you take the speck of dust out of your neighbor's eye," it was hilarious. It was really funny, and it communicated well. Jesus' way of interacting with other people showed his humanity and his sense of joy. One time, Peter saw Jesus walking on water in the middle of the night, and he decided to jump out of the boat and join him. Now, as long as he kept his eyes on Jesus, Peter was able to walk on the water, but the second he looked down at the waves, he began to sink. Jesus came to him immediately, and we typically read his words like this: "Oh, Peter, you idiot! You have such teensy-weensy faith. Didn't you know I could catch you?" When I really think he probably said it very gently, very affectionately, "Peter, Peter, you have little faith. Didn't you know I would catch you?" Jesus came to earth to die. There's no doubt about his role and his mission. And in that role, he bore our sorrows and suffering upon himself. But he also came reflecting the joy, kindness, patience, and loveliness of God his Father. And as such, he was the man of joy. This is a picture of Jesus that's attractive to me. It makes him someone I can identify with, someone who knew what it was like to experience pain and betrayal and immense suffering, but also someone who could laugh and play and enter fully into life with all of its brokenness. His life gives me permission to seek a life of joy for myself. I'm asking God to make me a woman of joy instead of a woman of sorrows. Do you need to ask him to do that for you too? I'll see you tomorrow.